feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy.
Good evening, ghosts and ghouls. It's the one, the only, JT Ripper, and I'm here with the ghost with the most,
God of Thunder.
And you're listening to a horrible podcast, and today I think we're going to revisit Halloween Ends, because I think our opinions might be a little different.
Yeah, certainly my opinion is different. After watching this movie again, I have a little different take on it. I'm not as big on it as I previously was.
Okay.
And
Explain why.
Well, first of all, I think the fact that it was a Halloween film, I didn't want to be down on it. I want it to be, it was a Halloween movie. It's one of our favorite franchises. I wanted to like it very, very much.
Okay.
And what I got, I think I accepted it at the time. But now being able to go back and rewatch it, I do see some heavy fucking flaws in it that bothers me enough to change my opinion on it.
Enough to talk about it. So
and enough to have a conversation about it at least.
So what bothers you about it?
Well, several things bother me about it, but I think the big thing that bothers me about it is the Laurie Strode character.
Okay.
And I've told you this before. I think that this franchise is ass backwards.
We're talking about 2018 Kills and Ends.
Right. This has nothing to do with the original 78 John Carpenter movie.
This is strictly the new trilogy.
Yeah.
So let's get that clear.
Yeah, the way she was in Halloween 2018, I think should have been the way she was in Halloween Ends and vice versa.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because we opened 2018 up and she's like this badass chick who's ready for Michael. She's like full fucking Rambo mode. Okay? She's got the house booby trapped. I mean, she's ready for him. The thing about it is, it's been 40 years. And he's been locked up in Smith's Grove Sanitarium. She knows exactly where he is. And he hasn't bothered her for 40 years because he's been locked up. But she's ready for him. And in Halloween Ends, after the events of the 2018 and Halloween Kills, after Michael has already escaped, already caused major damage, including killing her own daughter, she's got this, happy-go-lucky, let's move on attitude. And I think that that's fucking retarded.
Mm-hmm.
That's my, I've tried to come up with a better word, but it's retarded. It's ass-backwards writing. Unless there's some, subliminal message trying to get across here, I don't see how that makes much sense.
Okay.
And besides that, there's a few characters in Halloween Ends, pretty much in the whole trilogy, that I think that they just neglect in Halloween Ends. The Lindsay Wallace character, they totally fucking shit on her character. They brought her back. She was pretty significant in Halloween Kills. And of course, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Lindsay was one of the little girls that was in the original Halloween, along with Tommy, that she was babysitting. Annie was babysitting Lindsay, and then Annie kind of brought Lindsay over to Laurie's, it wasn't Laurie's house, it was Tommy's house, and Laurie kind of babysit both of them where she went off and fucked around or whatever, right?
Right.
So they brought her back. She's one of the few people that had an encounter with Michael in Halloween Kills that actually survived. Tommy didn't survive. They killed him dead as a fucking doornail.
Right.
But she survived. So she's in Halloween Ends, and they do jack dick with her. She's like reading tarot cards in one scene, and she's a bartender in another. And that's it. That's it. What the fuck? And another character, the character of the guy that plays, like, I guess the new sheriff in it. In 2018, that kind of evil doctor kind of stabs him in the throat, and you think he's dead.
Right.
But then, in Halloween Kills, he's alive, right? He didn't die.
Nope.
And they explored his back characters. They showed him at the beginning of Halloween Kills. He was like a young rookie cop, and he accidentally shot the other cop that Michael had. And he's felt guilty about that for over 40 years. So he's had a run-in with Michael. And again, another character that survived a run-in with Michael. And like they had scenes with him saying, you know, I'm going to get him, I'm going to get him. And he does jack dick in Halloween Ends. The only time you see him in a grocery store. And the only thing significant about his character in that movie is, like, he has the hots for Lori, and you're thinking, well, maybe they'll get together. But the only scenes you see him in is when they are potentially trying to, you know, set up a date or something. But other than that, they don't do shit with his character. He's a throwaway character. These are characters that were introduced, told us that these were important characters, and then they shit on them. And it was all because they wanted to put out this new fucking Corey story. And that's fine if this wasn't a Halloween film. Don't neglect your main characters or your semi-main characters for a brand new story. If you want to do a brand new story, make a brand new fucking movie. So, my opinion has changed in that this went from an okay movie to a semi-okay movie, but a fucking horrible Halloween movie. And that's my stance on it as it sets right now.
Okay. So, playing devil's advocate here. So, what if Lori was trying to give her her granddaughter a normal life? Not the fact that, you know, she was, you know, everything was hunky-dory and she just forgot about it. She was just trying to move on and trying to give her the normal life that she thought she deserved.
I'm listening.
Besides being this Rambo person from 2018 that obviously drove a wedge between the relationship with her daughter and her granddaughter because of her obsession with Michael Myers. So she is now to the point where she doesn't want to lose her granddaughter. So she's trying to give her a normal life the best way she can.
You want me to respond to that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, a little too fucking late. Second of all, it's, like I said, it has been 40 years since her encounter with Michael Myers. You would think that having a granddaughter would change her, and she wants her granddaughter to grow up without the mystique of Michael Myers hanging around. Not after her fucking granddaughter's mom, dad, all of her fucking friends, her boyfriend have all been slaughtered by this fucker.
Okay.
I personally would be like, I would think that Lori would be like, don't worry about Michael Myers, I ain't seen him in 40 years, instead of, don't worry about Michael Myers, he just killed your whole fucking friends and your family 4 years ago.
Gotcha. Now, I'm not, like, in love with this movie. And we have been talking, and I do agree that Ends should have, like, the way she is in Ends should have been first. Then going into 2018 or Ends kills 2018. That should have been the digression, because she should have got injured after, she let her guard down, and then 2018, Rambo bitch, kill a motherfucker. I do agree with that. I'm just trying to, like, throw ideas out there.
Yeah, to me, there's several things that I can compare this to for all our wrestling fans out there. This is like watching a storyline between two wrestlers, and instead of having them start off in a one-on-one match and ending in a brutal, let's say, cage match,
right,
you start off with a fucking cage match and end it in a regular boring match. That's the way I look at it.
Right.
I believe that they wanted to... I believe they had no intentions of making this a trilogy. I think that they wanted to make Halloween 2018, and they threw every fucking thing that they had at the wall, because it is a great movie. It tells the story. It pays homage. It's brutal, It has that suspense to it, like the original, and overall, it's a great movie. However, you got these other two movies to go along with it. Now, I thought that Laurie's character in Halloween Kills was notoriously shit on by a lot of the fans. And they were like, well, you didn't see as much as Laurie. She was in the hospital, blah, blah, blah. Yes, but she had that fight with Michael, and she wasn't able to be full Laurie. You know what I'm saying? So it made sense. The same way back in the original Halloween 2. I know the original Halloween 2 has nothing to do with this series, but she's in the hospital. She's recovering, and it's putting over the damage that Michael did to her in the first film. And her being in the hospital in Halloween Kills is putting over the damage that Michael did to her in 2018.
Right.
So that makes sense to me. But it just bothers me, and it just baffles my mind that after 40 years, she's ready for him, but she knows exactly where he's at. She knows that he's locked up in the sanitarium.
Right.
And now, here it is that Michaels has escaped, and he's killed her daughter and her son-in-law and most of her granddaughter's friends, and almost killed the guy that she kind of like has the hots for or whatever.
She's madly in love with this.
Yeah, she's like
3 days.
secretly. Yeah, she's like secretly in love with or whatever. But like now, Michael's like disappeared. Like she knows he's out there. He could pop up at any time. And now she's like, no, we just got to put it behind us. Like what? Like how can you know that a killer's locked up and be ready for him, but know that he's still out there and be like, oh, I just got to get on with my life? That don't make sense to me. It don't make sense to me at all.
My thing that bothers me is the fact that, going back and, like, rewatching it, like, how quick she fell for Corey. Like,
The granddaughter?
Yeah. Because, it was like, boom, in love, magic, head over heels, willing to die for a motherfucker. And I don't know. I wish the Corey character would have been involved, like, in the, like, starting in 2018 Kills. Like, he wasn't just, like, brought up and ends. You know what I mean? It would have been a build-up to this character.
Yeah, it would have been... if he would have started off in 2018 as just, like, her boyfriend, right? Just her straight-up boyfriend, and like they survive together through this whole ordeal, but then you see glimpses of him
like losing it.
like losing it, like kind of like what they did with Anakin Skywalker in the second trilogy of Star Wars. You know, you start him off as a little boy, but as the movies go on, you see him getting pulled more and more to the dark side.
Yeah.
I would have been fine with that. You know,
Right.
you saw glimpses of Corey, like not like, you know, maybe his opinion of a situation is a little bit morbid than the rest. And
Yeah, starting
people-
off like that, and
Yeah.
people were looking at him funny. And then, like, what happened in Ends, where, you know, he knocks the kid off and kills him, that would have happened in Kills because of the thought of Michael Myers being back. And then in Ends is when he fucking loses it.
Right.
Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, to me, like I said, I don't think that they truly thought this trilogy out, because I don't think that they had any idea that they were going to do a trilogy. And I think that the success of 2018 is what put it in their minds. And I don't know if it was pressure from the studio or if it was pressure from whoever, but you know, a lot of people didn't like Kills. I was perfectly fine with Kills. But now that I think about it, it was kind of hot shot writing and it was kind of hot shot directing. It was like, we really don't have a story here, so we'll just let Michael Myers go ape shit and kill everybody.
Which I'm okay with.
Which,
But-
yeah, I'm okay with, because, you know, we're used to the Michael Myers that is stalking and taking his time in the shadows. And in Halloween Kills, he goes right for the jugular. He kills almost everybody he's in contact with, and he does it in brutal fashion. And it was a little bit different. I mean, Rob Zombie took that approach. People shit on it. But the thing about this one is, okay, we got Laurie, we got all the original cast back. Maybe, you know, this will go, it'll be like the same concept, but pulled off a little bit better. And no, the same people that shit on what Rob Zombie did shit on Halloween Kills, because it was the exact same type of thing. It was, I don't know. I don't know what people expect from this series. I think they think of the Halloween series as this upclass slasher series that's more than just a slasher, which it is, but it's nothing wrong with just giving the fans a straight up old slasher film.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Part 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, the problems that had, overall, it was just a straight up slasher film.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have come around to that film, and now it's kind of a cult classic, whether you like the producer's cut, or whether you like the theatrical cut, or whether you go out there and you spice it all together the way that you want it to.
That's the
kind of like
problem.
a...
That's the only problem with that movie, is that it just got cut all to shit.
Yeah, it got cut all to shit, and honestly, I like both versions of the film.
I just switched the ending.
Yeah, I like the theatrical ending a lot better than I like the producer's cut. But everything up in the producer's cut until the ending, I like better than the theatrical cut.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd give the theatrical ending to the director's cut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been a whole lot better.
That
But-
would have been the perfect one.
But getting back to this Halloween Ends, yeah, I mean, just
Honestly-
I feel like the characters, most of the characters were neglected to introduce new characters. That, I mean, don't introduce me to some new characters unless you have resolved the issue with all these other characters.
Yeah.
I think that's stupid.
Corey shouldn't have been in Ends, honestly.
No. I mean, I think if they would have taken...
I like the concept of Corey,
Yeah, I mean, if you made a
but
movie
it was
about
no
a guy...
but it was no payoff, because, I mean, okay, if you were going to kill off Michael, you shouldn't have killed off Corey.
Well, if you were going to do a script like this anyway, Michael Myers shouldn't even be near it. Laurie shouldn't be near it. None of the Halloween people should have been near it. You should have said, hey, after I finish putting all of my time, all of my effort into this trilogy, and I give the fans a banger to send off on this franchise, I got this new project in the works, and that's when you do that, Corey. You tell a story about a guy who, is the babysitter. He has the accident, and then this town turns on him. You don't have to make it fucking Haddonfield. You just make it that all these people turn on him, and he becomes this bad guy, and he starts becoming a serial killer. That would have been an interesting story. But you added Michael and shit. It was like that story was already in effect, and they added Michael to a couple pages. That's what I feel like it is.
They kind of did what they pulled in Hellraiser, the last couple of Hellraiser movies.
Yes, that's exactly what they do. They already have a script in place, and in order to be mildly successful with it, they add Pinhead to a couple of pages and call it another Hellraiser movie. And I felt like this movie was it, because there was absolutely no goddamn reason that Michael should have let this kid live. There's no reason why Michael should have been like, for some reason, you got it, kid. Like, if you're trying to tell me that Michael has no conscience, Michael's not even going after Laurie. Like, Laurie thinks that Michael's coming after her. Michael doesn't give shit all about Laurie. Michael's killing because he wants to kill. That's the message you're trying to give out. Because if you try to put an explanation to it, oh, that's his sister, blah, blah, blah. No, we're totally ignoring all that, right?
Right.
So we're going back to basics. This is just a guy that sees her, that is obsessed with just wanting to kill her for some reason. But in the long run, he's not really even concerned with her, right?
Right.
But that's the storyline that you're giving us in 2018 and Halloween Kills. That he doesn't care. It's not personal between him because he doesn't even know what personal is. He just wants to kill.
Right.
But in Halloween Ends, you're kind of telling us that he is going after her personally.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't kill anybody. He doesn't kill anybody until he gets to her. I mean, he obviously does kill people, but he kills these people because he's led there by Corey. Yeah. Or Corey leads somebody to him.
True. Yeah.
But I think one of the scenes that people forget about is there's a scene in Halloween Ends where Corey shows up and wants to talk to the granddaughter, right?
Right.
And then when the scene ends, Laurie goes back into the house and you see Michael behind a tree looking at all of this.
Yeah.
And that right there shows you that, well, boom. Like, Corey, I don't know did Corey lead him there? Did he follow Corey? What the fuck happened? Why was he there? If he don't give a fuck about Laurie and he's not on a mission specifically for Laurie, because you've told us that he's like the shark from Jaws. He sees, he attacks. He doesn't care who you are. But
yeah.
But now here he is, like, led to Laurie. Like, did he stay in the sewer for all this time because he just didn't know where she was? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
I'm going to be interested to see the deleted scenes. I think I heard that it's an alternate ending too. And I want to know, like, what the director and stuff was thinking.
Well,
like what their vision was for Ends.
Well, wasn't it like when they released Halloween Kills to Peacock? Wasn't one of the perks was we were going to see an extended version of the film?
I think so.
Well, I want to know if they will. Why can't they do the same thing to Halloween Ends? Like, have like the regular theatrical cut, and then have like an extended version, and maybe show us a different ending or whatever. That would have been cool. Maybe that would have explained some of these questions that I have in my head. Like,
maybe this movie had maybe this movie went through the 6 treatment. Maybe it got cut to death.
Well, if you remember months and months ago, Jamie Lee Curtis sent out a tweet and literally said, this movie's going to piss off a lot of people.
Yeah, she did.
Now, we didn't know how to take that. But now I do. And her sending out that tweet tells me that while she was making this, she probably wasn't too sure that this was going to work. Because why would you send out a tweet like that if you are like proud and you're like, oh, like this is the ultimate, right?
Yeah.
No, she knew that she made a dog shit movie.
I honestly wanted both of them to die in this movie. Like, I didn't want the fairy tale ending. I wanted Laurie and Michael to die.
Okay.
Just the final nail in the coffin, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, I really don't have an opinion on that because, honestly, what we got threw me off so much. Like, I don't know. Like, what we got was so what we shouldn't have got. I can't even start to think about, like, killing off both of the characters. Like, I agree with you. I think that both of them should have, you know,
went out in a blaze
hit the
of glory.
fucking, you know, bit the fucking bucket or bit the bullet. Hit the bucket, bit the bullet, whatever.
Hit the bit.
Could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna? But, yeah,
Was it necessary to throw him in a goddamn car shredder, grinder, metal thing?
that was one of the few things that I liked about it. Leave it up to no suspicion. If this was the end, that was a great fucking way to do it. However, what we got before that was not like... It was... God damn. It's like, it's a satisfying ending if we're going to end this character. But it wasn't satisfying leading up to it. So it wasn't satisfying. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that. It's like
we got to the destination that I thought we were going to get to, but we didn't take the fucking road that we should have to get there. So it took us an extra 2 hours to get there.
Yeah, we went out of the way and it didn't make sense and nobody enjoyed it.
Right. It's like, usually you take a shortcut to cut some time, not add more fucking heartache to your drive.
Yeah.
And that's what they did with Halloween Ends. They gave us a character that
meant shit at the end of the day.
Yeah, it shouldn't have happened. Like, this is a Michael Myers and Laurie Strode franchise. And when you introduce this other character, it's like you took a shit on those characters because you're promising us the ending of their conflict only to introduce a new conflict, but this is the last movie, so you have nowhere to go with it.
Yeah.
So that just tells me right there that you ran out of fucking ideas. You ran out of ideas. I get that you don't want to do another movie of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode stalking each other, blah, blah, blah. I get that. We've had plenty of those types of movies. However, you know, this is the franchise that you committed to. This is the franchise that you wanted to redo. This is the franchise that you wanted to give us because you felt that it needed this new trilogy. Well, you didn't fucking stay committed to it, in my opinion.
I think what happened is that they had the idea for the 2018, and it drew so much fucking money, they were like, oh, I guess we should do more, so we're going to do a trilogy, and they didn't know what the fuck to do. They just wanted to cash in on it.
Like I said earlier, they hot-shotted it. You know, that's a term used in wrestling. When something works and you still want to make money off of the feud, you hot-shot the booking to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
now all of a sudden these fuckers are fighting in a hardcore match. Now they're in a steel cage. Now they're in their ladder match. They're doing all these fucking matches, and pretty soon the people that were excited about this feud to begin with are like, will this fucking end? Please, this is fucking getting goofy. And that's exactly what they did with this. I mean, but the difference is that we were excited going into this movie. We were fucking excited. Because me and you liked 2018, and we liked Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
So we were, I mean, to me, this movie doesn't even fucking fit this trilogy at all. It's a different feel to it. The way they treat characters in this is different. I mean, it didn't... That's why I said I think this script already existed, and they just threw Michael. Because it doesn't feel like this trilogy.
Right.
Like, the first... Like, if you watch Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills back to back, they have a similar feeling to it.
Right.
That you know that it's the same movie. You can buy that it's the same night. You can buy that these, characters are still, fighting for their lives or blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Kind of like the original and part 2. Even though they were made 2 or 3 years apart from each other, it's one continuous night.
Right.
That's something that they did well with 2018 and Kills.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, from this point on, I will probably watch 2018 and Halloween Kills because I think they're good companion pieces. And I'll just have to accept the fact that I will not... there's no reason to watch Halloween Ends. There's none. They don't give me a resolution. They don't give me anything. The only thing that they fucking was committed to was killing Michael Myers. And they didn't give a shit how they got there, and they fucked us over how they got there, honestly.
Yeah, I can kind of see that point. I mean...
Like, it was... If they would have gave us a completely different movie with the same ending, it would have been a totally different feeling. But the way we got there, like, wasn't satisfying to me. It's like, oh, okay, well, Halloween really did ends. I guess they delivered on what they promised in title alone, but they didn't give us what we deserved to see, and they didn't give us what they promised us. And, kudos to the people. I still think James Jude Courtney is an awesome fucking Michael Myers. I still think that Jamie Lee Curtis gave her all to the Laurie character of what she was scripted to do.
Yeah, she did do a fantastic job. I mean, I still don't hate Ends as much, but I do see your point of views on it.
Yeah. Like, from this point on, I have no fucking reason to watch this movie. None. Because I know I'm not going to be satisfied with it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, I'm just not going to be satisfied. It's going to be one of those where it's probably going to be debated for a long time.
Yeah.
Some people still accept it and they don't care about what I just pointed out. And that's fine, because there's a lot of things that people point out in Halloween Kills that they don't like, which makes them not like the movie, that I don't have a problem with and I can overlook. So I guess some of my points, people can look at Halloween Ends and overlook my point and still like the film too. True. I'm not telling anybody they can't like it. I'm not telling anybody they can't like any movie. Our podcast is strictly opinion on our part only.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm just saying that Halloween Ends is probably going to be my least visited Halloween. I mean, as much problems as I have with Resurrection, I think that movie's dog shit. At least I got Michael, and at least, it's centered around him.
Yeah.
So
you're not wrong.
I mean, the movie Halloween Ends it's the cinematography in it is still top notch.
Yeah, the score.
The score in it is still top notch. Everything in it is a top-notch production except for the writing and the overall idea, leaves me fucking cross-eyed.
Yeah. I can definitely see your point of view on it. I still don't hate it as much as you, but I definitely probably maybe we'll watch it one more time and probably not watch this for years, honestly.
Yeah, and like I said, we wanted to like this movie, or at least I wanted to like it, and a part of me, like, it was like, I don't know what you call it. It's something that you know that you don't quite like, but you try to convince yourself that you did like it.
Yeah.
And I guess when I came out of the theater, when I saw this movie, that's kind of like what I was.
Yeah.
But now that I've had time to breathe and think about it and everything, I don't have a problem shitting all over it.
Yeah, it's not as great. Like my opinion is like a little bit like tarnished on it after going back and rewatching it and like talking and thinking about it, and you know, I don't hate it as much as you, but I still find a lot of unnecessary stuff and a lot of characters didn't get used and no resolution or resolving issues, and I don't know. It could have been better, and I think that's what like hurts the most.
Yeah, it wasn't the script that we were promised, and it wasn't the script that loyal Halloween fans deserved. And
Yeah.
I believe that the filmmakers to this movie were very discouraged after the negative response of Halloween Kills. So
They probably wanted to try something different.
yeah,
last
they wanted
movie.
to try something new. They wanted to try something different. They wanted to, I guess, go back to psychology. I don't know. I don't know what made them think that having Michael Myers in this movie for all of 6 minutes was a good idea.
Maybe the fans are to blame.
Maybe they are. I mean, we often sit here and
Bitch and complain,
Bitch and
gripe
complain.
and moan and piss and whine.
yeah, and we often think that a lot of films get shit on, and we think that they are unjustly. And Halloween Kills is one of those films. The Rob Zombie Halloween movies are two of those films.
Yeah,
Up until recent years, until it got a cult following, we thought Halloween 3 was one of those films. So, but I don't think Halloween Ends will be one of those movies where I will go out of my way to defend. I won't sit here and say that it's a bad movie. That's one thing I want to get across. It's not a bad movie. The concept is good. It's just a bad movie for a Halloween franchise. It's a bad movie to end this trilogy on. It just doesn't make sense. And, you know, I think, what did I give it, a 7.5 when I first reviewed it?
Yeah.
That was like being generous. Like, I don't even know what I'd give it. I'm really fucking sour on it. I feel like whatever I give it would still be too much. I'm leaning towards maybe 4.5, 5.
I had a feeling you was going to say that.
And that's being really fucking generous. And that's only because I am a fan of James Jude Courtney. I am a fan of Jamie Lee Curtis. And I would have been a fan of the other characters if they were treated with respect and given a good send-off, you know?
I'm leaning more on a 6-7 because I don't hate it as much as you, and it's still not Resurrection, but I'm kind of feeling like Resurrection might actually be a little bit more rewatchable than this one. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I'm gonna watch Ends and Resurrection, or Resurrection and Ends, and then see where that falls. But they're definitely in the bottom. But It's been real. It's been fun, but boy, has it not been real fun.
Yeah, going back has been real shit. As far as this fucking movie's been concerned, for me
Yeah.
anyway. But yeah, we felt the need that we just had to revisit this because our feelings had changed on it. So
Yeah.
I feel like I've got it out of my system. So.
Yeah, I feel a little bit better. Well, I'm JT Ripper,
And I'm Todd of Thunder saying toodaloo.
and fuck you, Bob.